So I was asked to review these markers. Supertip Crayola washable markers. Now, I don't know why it's so important that they're washable. I mean, they're not going to get on my clothes or anything, I hope. Now, before I get started, the paper I use is not regular printer paper. It is cardstock. And it's what I use for all my drawings as of recent. Because cardstock is easier to color on, it's easier to blend colored pencils with, it's durable, it's not flimsy, it won't bleed as hard, and it doesn't smudge as much when you're drawing on it. So, yes, we're going to be using cardstock. Alright, let's begin. God damn it, can I even open this thing? Always open things. Think. Well, I'm not going to return it since it's already... I'm going to be using it, so it doesn't matter how I open it, really. But, let me just see how this pulls out. Whoops. It's a weird way to get your markers out. It's not like a container or anything, where I could reuse it. So I guess I'll just, or maybe it is. Hold on. Oh, I can't pull it out. Okay, that's good. That is good. Where does this go? Well, it's kind of flimsy. I wouldn't recommend reusing this anyway. Just gonna start randomly coloring with them at random colors here and there, and then I'm gonna do an actual drawing with the coloring using these markers. See if I can stand them up like this. They're pretty good. The first color I'm going to start out with is the red, because I never get the type of red I want. Even so, like even here, like the red's like super dark compared to the other colors. They always give like a dark red. I'm going to use this, an orange, and a yellow, because my main character, you know, is the fire guy, so it's best I start out with these colors. Now, it's not double-sided or anything, but let's get going. I'm just going to draw a fireball. Well, I got a nice angle. I wish I can focus. Got a nice angle to color on. It's not really pointy, like long-tipped point. It's pretty interesting. And it's not giving me the full color as I want, but it still can probably produce some good art. I'm going to compare it with this type of red. This is what I've got for my job at TJ Maxx. Like, these things come in like a pack of like, well, you see how much there is. This will be like 12 bucks maybe. Maybe 8, I don't even know anymore. But let's test it next to this red. Now, we're not testing the color per se, but we're just testing how well it fills in. Now, the bleed is much better for this marker. It's easier to fill in, most definitely. As you can already tell, the streaks with this one, the one I just used, compared to this one, the streaks it leaves behind is much different. This one fills in more. Mind you, this cardstock is a bleed control type paper, so it doesn't bleed as bad either. So that kind of works in favor of this more so than it does with this. I'm going to be using one of those Copics or Copic markers. Let's see how that works. Yeah, these always... It's like using a paintbrush with these sometimes. It's very, like, soft. And these bleed much more, of course, than this. Now I'm going to be trying this random red marker that I've got on the side. This is probably the closest that the Crayola one's going to be to, because it's thinner. Even that makes a lot of marks. So, the Crayola comes in third place on this one. Copic or Copic does color the best, but this one was probably the best experience in smoothness and enjoyment coloring. The only reason I say that is because of Copic, when I'm coloring with it, or Copics, or however you say it, sometimes it feels like it's fighting the paper. Like, it has like a little... I don't even know how to explain it. It's not smooth as this one is when it's coloring. Or this one. This one's just a... This one, you can feel the actual coloring. This one might be a little too smooth. Now I want to test the gradient just to see how it looks. This yellow's coloring very nicely. Now let's try the orange. Let's see how it works. It's coloring over it like it doesn't even... Orange is coloring over it very nicely. So, I'm not doing it really to blend it. I was just seeing how it worked. But let's see the red now. Alright, you can get some good blend with it if you really try. It's not bad. The real test is going from yellow back to orange. Yeah, it's a little difficult. But, as expected. I'm gonna draw, like, my character's head to an extent. Just see how it would look. Now the thinness of this marker, and it doesn't spread well compared to the other ones, but so you'd probably spend twice as long coloring in, from what I can tell. Just because the brush isn't long, so you can't do wide angles. I mean, it's made so you can do like on an angle, but the brush itself isn't as long as, you know, something like this or something else. Like, it's kind of resisting the paper the most out of the 4 markers, that's for sure. Now we're going to try it on a regular piece of paper. Now the bleed on the cardstock, here it is. It does not bleed at all, but it will still flake up when it gets wet, you know what I mean? When you're trying to color it, it'll still like flake, like if you get it wet too much. But compared to the other markers, it does not bleed at all. I don't even see it over here. It was this one, by the way. It's hard to make something bleed on cardstock, by the way. Now we're going to try it on regular printer paper, which is what most people have. Alright, let's try the red again. I'm just going to draw a little fireball. It's coloring much smoother on the printer paper, but as you can tell, it's not a full, complete red. And you can still see the stroke marks even. It's like, there's no... Sometimes no bleed is good on markers, like having no, like, or limited bleed, but you want some type of bleed. Because when I draw something like this and I want to fill it in, you really have to color every aspect. That's why I take... The bleed helps with the coloring process too, especially with the blending, but this color's pretty decent on printer paper. I'd say it colors much better than the cardstock if you're using regular printer paper. As if... Let me try using this random marker right here. Well, much easier for this marker as well. Not surprised, but let's try my, this one right here. The Flomo. Dink. Yeah, this one fills in much better. 10 times. You don't even you barely see streaks compared to this one. Now let me just try and color it with this. But yeah, trying to recolor over this, it'll create that flakiness once again. Let me try and do it with the yellow. I want to try the blend again. Alright, let's try the blend. And we're going to go like this. Or not the blender, just coloring over it, see what it does. And it just colors over the yellow like it doesn't exist. I'm not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing. But now we're going to go back to red. It's kind of hard to get that sharp point with the bristle so small. Yeah, it blends decently, you know, what I expect, but you're going to have to put a lot of effort. You're going to have to master these markers to get the correct type of blend with this. That's for sure. But coloring from light to orange on the blend is not going to work as if you were to color darker to lighter. Because trying to get yellow to blend with the orange like this is not working. But trying to get the orange to blend, it's kind of not working. The red is to orange. It's kind of weird. I'm going to go back to the cardstock, and I'm going to draw my character's face on it. Or some type of, you know. This is cardstock. I'm going to draw my character's face. You know, we're going to see how it goes from there. Because this would be the process most people do if they plan on using it. Now, my already biggest gripes with this new Crayola marker is I cannot draw eyes right now. But my biggest gripe with it so far is the brush or the bristle isn't as long, so you can't get... You'll get tired of coloring very quickly compared to the other ones. That's for sure. Now I'm going to use a 04 of one of these pens. Alright, and I messed up the eye, but that's not the big deal for this drawing. Alright, we're going to let that dry a bit, and while we're doing that, we're just going to quickly draw it on the... Just going to quickly draw his head again in another way. Okay. Let's erase the sketching underneath before we color on this cardstock right here. Alright, we're going to start. Strong suggestion with these markers of color. Well, most markers, I'd say, color light. Use the light colors first. So that's what we're going to do right here. Hold on, there's still some sketch left over. Alright, we're just going to do that real quick. Yeah, so it's smudging the ink right now. Maybe I should let the ink dry more, but it's getting in there on that ink. As if the other colors markers would not do that right now. Oh, is it night? This is orange. Okay. Gonna have to put it in with that yellow. So it's coloring as I had expected to, which was how it was before, and it's really smudging in with that ink. So that's kind of an issue. And the fact that the brush, like I said before, is not long enough, the fact that it's not really long enough makes it harder for me to actually see where the tip is touching exactly, so I might not fully color in on the lines perfectly. It's a very stubby end. Yes, it has a point, but it's very hard to see that point. So it's kind of getting in the way of the coloring we're trying to see. Okay, so it's not really impressing me much, but yeah, this is kind of terrible. Now, disclaimer, when you're using the marker, it doesn't really show you using line work on it, so yeah. I'm going to try and read it. Durable can allows typical lines. School projects, doodling, and all around subs. Yeah, it's not really for anything serious, but I like to take things serious. Alright, now let's color with this one. That was with the cardstock, by the way. Now, back to printer paper. Now this head looks much better than the other one, so I hope it goes well. And this one had more time to dry. And since this is printer paper, the ink probably set in better. Or quicker, I'd say, than the cardstock. But we'll have to see. Alright, let's go on with the yellow first, like before. It's smudged a bit. Smudging. It's smudging with the ink already. So I'm going to try and use a heat gun to heat up the process of drying the ink. I see where the washableness is coming from on that description, you know. But yeah, I was fearing that the washable part would make it bad at coloring. Because, you know, when you gain something like that, you're going to lose something in the coloring aspect, that's for sure. Because the fact that it's washable most likely means it's, like, not going to color as good as well. So this is something you probably want to give your 4-year-olds if you don't want them to make a mess, or you got to wash their clothes afterwards, I suppose. So this isn't for nothing official. But, yeah, we're going to try and color with this. This is, if these had a proper sealing, I'd definitely return these. That's for sure. But I don't feel like it. That's too much hassle. I'll probably give it to my niece or something. So I think, boom. Then we got, it's very hard to see where that red's going to be placed because stubbiness of the marker. But I'm no professional. Well, I can actually say I'm a professional to an extent. But okay, I like to color perimeter first before I color inwards, but this is very, it's still smudging and creating that flakiness as if I overcolored on the paper when I really didn't overcolor on the paper. Like if I was dealing with Copics, I could still color over it without it being like without the paper like getting all wet and crumbly. So, what were these about? $7-10? I don't remember. $8 tax after tax. Yeah. So it colored better in terms on the cardstock in terms of strokes. Like the strokes on here, you can see every stroke. It like looks rough and dirty. And here, it looks decent. The red doesn't color as good as I wanted it to. It only is a lighter red because it doesn't color as strong. Otherwise, it'd be a dark red. And the blend, it's decent, I guess. But let me try and color the yellow on the outside, see what it does to it. Yeah, it's getting flaky. When the markers touch, it gets flaky. That's that washable aspect to it. And it's kind of gross when you're trying to do it with ink. And this ink usually dries typically fast compared to other stuff, so yeah, now let's try and use its actual, like, we're going to go back to the cardstock, since that seemed to be the overall better to color on. Now we're going to try and use it for its strengths, which is just doodling, without line work, without anything. So I see it's coloring with dark, and then it's coloring in light. But, for the outline, but, maybe we should do it like that. Maybe we can try it that way. Let's try like a fireball coming at us. He's like, why are you always drawing fire? I am flames great, buddy. Alright, there we go. Orange, I'll draw like a little redness in it, like that, maybe. Draw like that. But you can't stay on one spot too long or it will get flaky. Now let's draw like a little orange right there. And then, yeah. Cannot stay on one spot too long because I feel the flakiness coming. And now the yellow to finish it off. Now that's a good looking fireball if you ask me. But we're going to have some excess. Now this is just for doodling as it says. But that's a great excuse. But can it actually color is what the real conversation's about. Now we're going to go back in with the red maybe. And trying. It's getting flaky. Can't stay there too long in that spot. See, now it looks all dark because it got flaky right there. It looks all messed up. All I did was try and go in for a little quick fix in it. You know, denied. But that's alright, I guess. Alright, now let's try and draw like enough of the fire colors. Let's try and do other colors. Maybe we should try something else. Let me try this orange. I haven't used this. This is like an orange, juice orange. It's like a yellowish orange. It's pretty nice. I love that. I love that for us. Try 2 different colors, random colors. Let's try and make... What do you think of when you think these two? I'm thinking like poison or toxin or something. So let's just draw a drip real quick. Okay, it's coloring very poorly. Is this the cardstock? Oh, this is not cardstock. Well, I'm glad we got to test it because I was going to use this anyways. So this isn't the cardstock, but let's try and go over it like this. The green's going over it nicely, but it's also flaking up very fast. Now let's try and do the purple over the green. Yeah, it's getting super flaky. I can't even bother blending colors. I wouldn't try. Let's just try and draw like a... Do that again, but... Yeah, you cannot sit in one spot too long. I mean, I'd rather just buy some regular Sharpies if I'm gonna be completely honest. And I don't even recommend Sharpies, so... Yep. I mean, should I color my t-shirt? And like, it doesn't say I should color on my t-shirt, just says really just a doodle, so yeah. It says draw thick to thin, but let's look at the marker tip that we was using actually for the red. It's losing its thinness very quickly. And let's say I wanted to draw like this, you know, it's very I guess that's what it takes for it to be washable. It just can't color. As I figured when I looked at it in the first place, but yeah. If I were to give these markers a rating, if I were to give these markers a rating, I'd give them a crispy 3 out of 10. Now, if I really cared about, if I had a kid or something and I wanted him to color without making his... I don't even think I'd give these to my kid if I even wanted him to color, because he'd be like, these suck, I don't even want to use these. He's like, these aren't coloring in. That'd turn him off from even wanting to be an artist. Am I talking really that poorly about these? Yes, I am. I'm sorry. Actually, we should try one more thing, because grays and blacks are in a league of their own. So let's just color gray. It's doing the same thing, flakiness. The black's not fully black, sadly. Let's try and go in for the kill with the black. Can black go over every color? So seemingly, the black seems unaffected by the rules of the other markers. In terms of flakiness, I want to see if I can just color over the whole thing without it being annoyed, the paper. I mean, kind of negates all rules. It can't color over the brighter colors, as you can tell. The yellow's fighting back. Let's try it here. Yeah, the black easily colors over in darker colors compared to the brighter ones, which is counterintuitive to a straight black marker. But yeah, let's put this back up. Let's put this back. I gave it a quick spin. I tried. But do I recommend these markers to even someone who cares about their clothes getting all messy and dirty? Can't say. What does it mean, washable? Like, now I'm thinking it means something else, because these markers color so bad that it's making me debate that the washable thing doesn't even mean, like, wash your clothes if it accidentally gets on it. Does it mean something else? I mean, why would it show bubbles, but does it washable? Well, cleaning your markers isn't really a thing heard of. I guess I gotta put it in upside down. Oh god. I do not like this container. Is the markers even in? I'm really disliking this, honestly. If it wasn't such a hassle to return something, I'd return these 100%. How much did I even pay for these? Maybe I should look at the receipt. Alright, these are not going back in, so maybe it's just even a hassle to even return this. Is it crazy? Alright, we've got them in. So, do I recommend you getting this for the person who asked this comment? No, I do not. It's a 3 out of 10 marker. But yeah, if I were to give these to my son just so he doesn't make a mess, I'm limiting his creative outlet, that's for sure. And then, as an artist, that is shameful. Very shameful. Shameful behavior. Yeah. I feel like part of me as an artist died inside and does not want to draw again. If I had to use this, I would not be... If I had to use this every day to continue my art career, I would stop right here. But, yeah, this is, I put them in the wrong way. Okay, this is Supertip's washable markers. It cost me $4.97, so this was, $5. Is it worth $5? Not even close. Let's look at the bleed on them. Not even... It gets wet, but it doesn't bleed. It's kind of confusing. But that's the washable aspect to it. Usually when markers get wet on the back, you see it bleed through. I tell you, the markers did damage, like these index cards. You know I colored good. You know that's good color. And it's not the paper, it's the marker, really. But, yeah. Or yeah, let's use this guy, for example. Like, you know the color was doing its job. But, I do not recommend. So, yeah, thank you guys for watching the video all the way through. I had a terrible time, and, it was quite interesting to see markers that didn't do their job. You know, every marker at least would draw, like, a 6 out of 10 in terms of, like, color and spread, but these ones, just not even close. I mean, I don't even want to color on a sticky note with that. I'd rather just go black and white with a pencil. That was terrible. Don't buy those markers. Hello, it's me. Whoa, jump scare, I know. So yeah, here's my final thoughts on this. Well, I put it in wrong, we already know that. But, if you really value, like, not making a mess, I'd particularly only get this for, like, children, very young, very, very young children that just want to color just to color. You know those kids that just color and throw the markers everywhere and abandon it 5 minutes later, not even, like, 30 seconds later, and get bored very quickly? Yeah, maybe you should get them this, because it's only like $5, I guess. But if you're looking for something to actually color with, I don't recommend it. This is terrible if you want to do something cool. If you want to do something moderate, not even if you want to do something that's actually art. Like, this is only good if you want to get your kid something that he can just scribble on. But if you want him to be an artist one day and he's even a scribbler, this is not the way to go. Now, it's only $5, sure. I mean, it's terrible at even doodling, but you can doodle with anything, but right? But it's very hard to doodle when you try and recolor or just do quick touch-ups or go over the previous stroke you've already went over, and it's just not the best. So, yeah, I'm not sure if you wanted me... This was the only super tips I seen in the store, so... Yeah, that's really, I'm not sure if there was any other super tips you wanted me to review. Whoa, pause. Whoa. Anyways, yes, washable really took it out. And even if I did another marker that was Crayola and super tips, it probably would lose that super tip that it was talking about. Now, pause, because trying something super tip is pretty wild. But, yeah, even if this wasn't washable or not, I think you'd still have a annoying time because it still would take 2 times the process to color in, even without the washable or not. So, you have that, and you also have the fact that it loses its sharpness quite quickly. So I'm done yapping, and yeah, this is Crayola. I give this marker a generous 5 out of 10. That's being very generous. Reality, if you want to do art, this is like a 2 out of 10, and that's even generous. But yeah.